Hey, this is Michelle and we just finished hiking, I don't know, about 1,000,000 miles, I think. It took a couple hours, and I have absolutely no idea where we are. So Ken, tell me where I am.
We're at Harvard Lakes in just above Buena Vista, Colorado, and hiking is a soft word for what we just did. We've climbed probably about 1,000 feet, and we did it in a pretty good time.
No, correction, you did it in a pretty good time. I did it in a lesser time.
This is just gorgeous. There's a breeze up here all the way up. Michelle, I was thinking, what a blessing to have the health to be able to do this. Some people aren't that fortunate. They just aren't that fortunate. And then of course some people have the ability, could do this. And that's my prayer. That's why I've written this book. That's why I have been across the country lecturing to people, is helping them realize at 65 today, I broke the record for a half hour. No big record, you won't see it in a book, but there was a tree, and from my home, about 600 or 700 feet up the mountain, it took me about a half hour to get up there because it was so steep, and I blew that away today at 65.
Which, you know, to give everybody a context, I've been running for probably a couple decades. I mean, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And all I remember seeing is dust behind you.
No, that isn't true. That is not true, Michelle.
You went fast. We didn't know where you went. So now tell me, what do you attribute this to? I mean, how are you able to be at this place where you can be this active at 65?
Well, I came to a place where I was standing by a lake that was at sea level, not like this beautiful lake here. But it was at sea level, and I was standing with my little granddaughter, and I was 60 pounds more than I am now. I might have been 50 now, because it wavers a little bit. But I was so out of shape. That picture, I looked like a walking manatee. I mean, it was horrible. I know there were people yelling, "Move, we want to see the ocean." But it was a sad picture because it was a snapshot of my entire life. It really was. Socially, mentally, spiritually, I was a basket case. I was suffering from depression every year, huge bouts of depression. And the interesting thing, I was at the peak of my career. I was leading people all around the world to faith in Christ. And somehow I had taken all of that success and started to lean against it for my worth and everything. And it was leading me to disaster. I'd stopped living. I had taken the car out of gear, put it in neutral, and I was going to coast to retirement. That's how you die.
And what you just said now, fully alive isn't just about physical health. I mean, it's so much more than that. It's so much more than just being able to hike a mountain.
Yeah. I think it was, I can never remember his name. Who was it that said, yes, many men die at 25 and aren't buried until they're...
Benjamin?
Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin. You call him Benjamin because you two were just like that.
Yeah, we're tight. I mean, me and Benny, actually.
He said many men die at 25 and aren't buried until they're 75. And that doesn't mean they aren't physically fit. There are some people who are totally physically fit, but who emotionally and spiritually are dead. I've met teenagers like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, who have just given up on life. They've decided to follow other people. They've decided to take the easy route. And, you know, I'll ask you, because I'm the author of the book, of course, I would love to have people buy the book. I would love to have them experience what I've experienced in my life. But something like this today, let me ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
Was it easy?
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
Were there times when you went, maybe we should turn around?
Yeah. Why am I here? Why did I let Ken talk me into doing this? Yes, absolutely.
But once we sit here, I mean, look, Michelle, once we sit here, you just go, how can I not?
Absolutely.
I want to do it again. And I want to do other things like this again. And that's just the physical part. When you begin to take those same kind of risks and practice that same kind of discipline spiritually, emotionally, in your social relationships, it just changes your whole life.
You know, and that's probably the problem. Most of us quit at the hard places.
Yeah.
And the hump, you know, we stop there and we turn and we go back and we miss out on the reward at the other side. So what keeps you pushing past that hard place?
Well, I think that deep within us there's an urge to push past that hard place. I don't know if you can get a picture of this. Just get a picture of this, and as you go toward the top, if you picture the top of that, about 12 or 13 miles from here, come back to me because it's a much better view. About 12 or 13 miles from here, I write in the book about losing my little granddaughter.
Oh, yes,
Little
absolutely.
Jaden. You know Jaden, this little
absolutely.
blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl walked away from the campsite in this wilderness. I mean, just wilderness. And, you know, I look back in the book, I look back at all of the times in my life when God reminded me what's really important. On the day that she was lost and the day we found her, in the span of time, and I tell the whole story in the book, but in that span of time, God condensed my whole life into a simple focus. It's about relationships. My relationship with him, my relationship with this little girl. I knelt in a puddle, totally at the end of myself. I couldn't move. My strength was gone. And I said, God, just bring this girl back. You can have everything. Everything. There's nothing more important than this little girl. So the book is a result of looking back at all those relationships and then seeing what God has done in my life now, helping people take the first step. You know, this path up here is just one step at a time.
Just one.
Just one. The next rock, the next root, the next, and then suddenly you're here, and the reward is in front of you.
And both the challenge and the joy is that we get to wake up and choose to do it again tomorrow.
You choose to do it again tomorrow. And choose knowing that there will be some pain. The only people without pain are dead. They're lying in front of a church with people filing by saying nice things about them. I'm not ready for that yet. But I am ready for this. The beautiful part of faith. You know, and I keep asking myself, well, what role does faith play in this? Not as a doubt question, but just as a reminder. And the role is this, is that when our goal is to be everything God created us to be, like St. Irenaeus said, the glory of God is man fully alive, or woman fully alive. When that is our goal, it doesn't stop when you get in a size 2 dress. I know, I've been there. It didn't stop.
Size 2? Just, okay, good to know. Wow, I'm glad we have that.
It
on
doesn't stop when you can climb a mountain. It
Yeah.
doesn't stop when you run a triathlon. One day your chest breaks the tape and your life on this earth is done, and Jesus says, come here, let me show you what I had in mind to start with. And then we get to experience that forever.
And this is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning.
This is just I mean, even looking here, I think this is just a taste.
But this
of what's
isn't
to
a
come.
waiting room for that.
No, it's not. I know, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
We get to experience more and more of that here as
Yeah.
we choose to do that.
So many people feel stuck. They feel like
So how do you
life
get
is
them
passing
unstuck?
them. They make the first move. The book tells them how to make the first move. Not a diet book, not an exercise book, not a devotional book. It just tells them how to make the first move, physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually.
What was your first move?
My first move? I think it started before I signed up for the triathlon. That picture was a huge move. That was probably the most, getting healthy physically sparked within me a desire to be healthy mentally, socially, and spiritually.
I would say the same for me too. The more
Yeah.
that I'm physically active, it helps me to have the
Yeah.
strength to make the emotional changes
Yeah.
I need to make, and even the relational
Yeah.
changes. You and I have talked about this before. When it comes to physical activity, the hardest part is getting up and putting your shoes on.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
It's
That's why.
strapping the shoes on.
Yeah, that's why I have to leave my shoes right by the bed. That's the discipline. Getting out of bed is the discipline. But if I don't have my shoes by the bed, I go, I can't find them. Oh, now I can't do an hour. I'll only be able to do an hour and 5 minutes, or 55 minutes. I won't do it today. Yeah. The first step is to move.
Do
to
something.
move. Yeah. I'll tell you this story. To kind of wrap this up, I'll tell you this story. A lady came up to me in a wheelchair. One of those little electric carts. It isn't really a wheelchair. It's an electric thing you can ride around in. She's probably 30-something. Probably close to 200 pounds overweight. Weeping. She had heard me talk. She said, can you help me? I said, what happened? I thought she was in an accident or had a disease. She said, I breathe hard. When I walk here to this show, I breathe hard. When I go out to the mailbox, I breathe hard, so I've got this chair. I said, did the doctor put you in the chair? She said, no, I breathe hard. Can you help me? And she's crying. And I said, no. That sounds cruel, but there was a big long line of people, and I wanted to help her. I said, no, I can't help you, but you can help yourself. And she was wiping tears from her eyes and, you know, cleaning her face with a handkerchief, and she said, how can I help myself? And I said, breathe hard. Get out of that chair. If the doctor says you can get out of that chair, go to the mailbox, whatever.
Something.
I've lost touch with her, but the last communication I got from her, she was sorting her mail at the door and started to weep again because suddenly she realized she had walked to the mailbox and back and hadn't breathed, she wasn't breathing hard. And she wrote and said, I'm going to go further tomorrow. That's how you start.
That's the message.
Yep.
So to the one person out there that says, maybe this isn't for me, what would you say to them?
Do you want to live? Do you want to live? If you want to live, take the first step. Get the book. There's the first step. I'm serious. Get the book. You and I have read the emails that have come in from people who have read this book, and it just blows my mind away. Yeah.
There's a lot of life to live, and if they are interested in your book, they can go to your website, which is kendavis.com, and I'll make sure that there's links on...
That was that ant.
He's not fully alive, unfortunately.
Yeah, the ant just died. You can be like us, or you can be like the ant.
It's your choice. I'll give you all the details. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I love you. And thanks for walking with me today.